First and foremost, all praises are due to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the brothers around the four corners of the earth who are teaching this word in truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect, the few men, women, and children that believe in this word. This is your brother Kawat Saabad coming at you again with another lesson. This one is entitled The Elites Need Chaos to Legitimize the C-Hip, also known as the MOTB, the Mark of the Beast, spoken of Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. And the elites are the international bankers, the Illuminati families that control the world, and their ultimate plan is to what? Bring everybody, mainly Babylon America, into chaos so they can legitimize bringing the MOTB, which is going to be total surveillance, and they want to put a chip inside your forehead or your hand so they can have total control. The devil Esau, starting with the elite bankers, wants to have total control. He wants to be like Yahweh. In order to do this, he has to bring about chaos. Many of these chaotic events in history have been known as black swan events. So let's get the AI overview of a black swan event. This also coincides and links with problem, reaction, solution. So it says here, a black swan event is a rare, unpredictable occurrence that has a massive impact and is often explained away in hindsight as if it were inevitable. And basically, it is inevitable because we know that these black swan events are actually predictable, all right? These elite Edomites plan these events, but the general public believes it was just a random event that happened. Let's go a little further, okay? So this black swan event, okay, the concept was developed by Nassim Nicholas Taleb in his 2007 book. The theory rests on three pillars. The first one is what? Unpredictability. The event is an outlier that lies outside regular expectations because nothing in the past can convincingly point to its possibility. But those of us who are part of the hopeful elect, we see things lining up. We are not ignorant of Satan's devices. So we see everything is lining up, and that is within what? A thing called Jacob's trouble in the Bible, a time like no other. So we see the things happening in Minnesota. We see what's happening in various parts of the country, all right, with the ICE agents. So we actually see the events happening in real time. So we know that this is all being planned to bring total chaos. Let's read the next bullet point. Extreme impact. Okay, the black swan events carries a paradigm shifting or catastrophic impact on a global or systematic scale. So we know they may bring down the economy. We know the dollar is worth nothing as the gold prices are increasing. The silver is increasing as far as the pricing. That's an indication that the economy is about to go bust. So it may be an economic thing. It may be activation of terror cells, whatever it is, okay? They're going to bring about, events in order to bring about or legitimize bringing in the MOTB. It says here, the next bullet point, retrospective predictability. Okay, after it happens, a black swan event, humans concoct explanations to make it seem like it could have been predicted all along. A phenomenon known as what? Hindsight bias, you see. But those of us in this truth, we understand that these things are being planned by the elite Edomite bankers. So it can be it can be explained, and also it can be stopped. All right, they can stop it if they want to. But like I said, the general public doesn't know everything going on in Jacob's trouble. Okay, which is going to be what? Famine of food, the economy going down, the electrical grid going down, race riots, civil war. All these things that are going to be done within Jacob's trouble are going to lead to the MOTB. But the general public doesn't recognize it. All right? Let's read this right here. The connection to problem, reaction, solution. So this is the connection of the Black Swan event to the concept of problem, reaction, solution, and we'll get that next as far as the AI overview as well. In some social theories, these unpredictable events are viewed as the problem, all right? So these unpredictable Black Swan events are viewed as the problem in the problem, reaction, solution cycle, all right? While a true Black Swan is inherently random, and there's nothing random about what these devils are doing, these elite Edomite bankers, okay? Let's start again. While a true Black Swan event is inherently random, critics of certain institutional responses argue that even natural or accidental Black Swans provide the perfect crisis for governments to implement pre-planned solutions, the MOTB, okay, during the period of public reaction, which is panic. So they have to bring in the chaos, which is known as what? Jacob's trouble. We're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. You see the protests mounting up against Babylon America and Donald J. Trump. It's only going to get worse. So let's go right here. Notable examples of Black Swan events that were really pre-planned by these elite Edomite bankers. So the first example is what? The 2008 financial crisis. A sudden collapse triggered by the housing market that few predicted, leading to massive government bailouts. Another example is what? The September 11th attacks, an event that radically reshaped global security policy and international relations, as well as the 911 was done to legitimize Babylon America stealing oil, okay, as well as taking over the poppy fields in Afghanistan and flooding Babylon America with heroin. You see? So let's go to the definition of the AI overview of problem, reaction, solution. Because like I said here, the Black Swan event is known as what? The P, the problem in most problem, reaction, solution cycles. You see? Another example of a Black Swan event was what? Pearl Harbor. Okay, the bombing, okay, of American troops in Hawaii that legitimized World War II, as well as legitimized what? Implementing, creating atomic bombs. But we know everything is really pre-planned by who? By Yahweh. Man's coming to goings are of the Lord. How can he then understand his way? So the real puppet master in everything that's going on is the Most High Yahweh. All right? So let's go into problem, reaction, solution. Okay, which is really what? Meant to bring out order out of chaos. And that order out of chaos will be implemented in the form of the micro C-hip. Revelation 13 and verse 16. But let's get this AI overview of problem, reaction, solution. So it says here, in the context of artificial intelligence, the concepts of problem, reaction, and solution are typically framed in two distinct ways: as a conspiracy theory about social manipulation, which is the one we'll get into, or as a technical framework for how AI agents operate. So the one we want to go into is what? Okay, is the manipulation model, the Hegelian dialectic. You see, controlled opposition. Like you see, you have the people that are for the ICE agents in Minnesota, and you have the people that are against the ICE agents in Minnesota as an example. Controlled opposition. So the elite Edomite bankers control both sides. Okay, they create problems. There's a reaction, and then they have a solution already pre-planned once the chaos goes into order, which is the MOTB. So let's go into this, okay? The manipulation model. It says here, this perspective views problem, reaction, solution as a strategy used by governments or institutions to implement measures that the public would normally reject. So normally, okay, No one's going to accept putting a C-hip, a microchip, inside their head or their forehead. So they have to manipulate the people and bring about chaos within Jacob's trouble. Famine of food, race riots, civil war, the internet going down, the electricity going out, okay? Massive rioting, a food famine, the economy going down, okay? So let's go on to the first bullet point of problem, reaction, solution. It says here, the problem, a crisis is created or exploited, you see? Example, a security threat or economic crash, which is going to be coming soon and very soon. This economy is through. So then you have a reaction. The public, driven by fear or anxiety, demands action or protection from the authority. So once all the chaos ensues, the race riots, millions of people dying like dung on the streets, then they'll be more willing to accept the MOTB. All right? So in essence, like I said, the title says the elites need chaos to legitimize bringing the MOTB, for people to say, you know what, I'm going to take that chip because I want the chaos to end. I want to eat. I want my family to be safe. You see, so on and so forth. All right, so you have the problem, the reaction, and then a solution. The next bullet point, which is a what? A pre-planned measure. The MOTB is already here. Okay, a pre-planned measure, often involving increased surveillance or reduced autonomy, is introduced as the necessary fix. They also did this during 9/11. Okay, they took away your privacy. Okay, as far as for the I can't think of the word. They took away your privacy in exchange for you being protected. So they said, you know what? We need to have everybody's privacy. Okay, has to be known. There's nothing private anymore. Anything you do is going to be surveilled. It's going to involve surveillance. But people were willing to give up their privacy, okay, and for protection, so to speak. All right, because 911 scared a lot of people, but that was a pre-planned event that they planned. But in essence, what it was for them to implement measures to get more into your business. You see, so nothing, check you at the airport, do security checks. All right, so everything about you, your privacy was exploited. Okay, so let's go to some scriptures. Okay, Revelation 12:12, because these devils know that time is running out. The son of perdition, you Edomites, starting with the elite bankers, you're being revealed to the whole world. So Revelation 12:12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So we know something is going to happen. A big event, a big crisis, okay, a black swan event, which is the P in the problem, reaction, solution cycle. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 15 for some precepts on what's going on now and what's going to increase. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 14, and it reads, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. We know woe means something bad is going to come. All right. Salakia for that. I don't know why I went there. Let's read it again. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So we see that going on now in Minnesota, people threatening to bring out their guns and their arms against the ICE agents. And this is exactly what the elite Edomites want. Confrontation, okay? Controlled opposition. They control both sides because they control the media and the narrative. So they got these two sides getting ready to combat, knowing it's going to create more problems. Okay, more reactions. Let's read 2 Netters 15 and verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. And we know Esau, these Edomites, these regular Joe Schmo Edomites are crashing out because they can't pay their bills, because now they're realizing that Donald J. Trump does not have their interest in mind. Okay? Donald J. Trump, whom we believe is Nero, the ancient Roman emperor reincarnated. So what he's doing is he's working for the interest of the elite bankers to bring Babylon America into total chaos so they can bring in martial law and lockdowns. Total chaos. You see? They want people fighting, shooting each other. They want the economy to fail so that people will be more conducive to getting the C-hip. All right? Let's read 2 Esdras 15 and verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men in invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. So people are ready to crash out against Babylon America. And that is exactly what the elite Edomites want, so they can bring about, the chaos. Okay? The lockdowns. And then people will be more willing to get that chip. Verse 17 says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's martial law and lockdowns. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So the thing is to bring anxiety, fear. Okay, so people will say, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. I'll take that chip, just to stop the killing. Okay, just so there is food on the shelves, to stop the robbing, so on and so forth, to stop the death. Let's read verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. We know we're in a time of what? The love of many is waxing cold. So a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, guns, weaponry, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, which means trouble. So this devil wants to bring total trouble and anxiety, people dying, pestilence, disease, in order to legitimize bringing out the C-hip, the mark of the beast. All roads lead to the mark of the beast. We have a few prophecies within Jacob's trouble, which is beginning. Okay, we're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble, a time like no other. So within that, you're going to have the race riots, civil war, all the calamity and chaos, which will legitimize bringing in what? The MOTB. And then you're going to have World War III, and then the day of the Lord. Yahushua coming, cracking those clouds in a big, gigantic spaceship with a myriad of angels. And Lord willing, those of us who are Hebrew Israelites who are part of the hope for elect will be beamed up out of this place. So there's only a few prophecies left. So we're only going to, mainly what? Focus on being occupied in prophecy, as the scripture says. Let's read, let's go to 2 Esdras verse 16 for some more insight, okay, on Jacob's trouble. Matter of fact, let's go to Jeremiah 30 first, okay? Jeremiah 30, Salakia. Jeremiah 30 in verse 5, and it reads as follows. It says, Jeremiah 30 and 5 says this, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. This is saying, can a man have a child? Okay. So these are the visions that the prophet seen. So Jeremiah seen this vision of men bending over like they were having children. But we know, okay, common sense says a man can't have a baby. Only a woman can. Let's start again. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, as a woman about to have a baby, and all faces are turned into paleness. These are the times we're coming into. Total chaos, total anarchy. Alas, okay, for that day is great, so that none is like it. So the times are coming, okay, that we haven't seen on the planet Earth. It is even the time of what? Of Jacob's trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. Those of us who are part of the hope for elect, okay, a wise man believeth, okay, the simple man believeth every word, okay, but the prudent man hideth himself. So those of us who are part of the hope for elect, who have been measuring the times, who have been sober-minded, which is clear-minded, we understand exactly what's going on. All roads lead to the MOTB. So they have to bring in total chaos. So we're going to put our faith, our continual faith in Yahweh, the Most High, in his son, Yahushai. That he's going to look after us, provide for us during these times, keep us out of trouble. Now, some of us will be what? Put in concentration camps as a witness. Some of us will be beheaded as a witness, but you're going to receive a crown of life for putting your trust in the Lord Yahweh, in his son, Yahushai. That's what it all boils down to. He's going to save an elect. The remnant are going to be beamed up on the day of the Lord and saved, okay, out of the nuclear fire that's coming from Russia and the other nations. So that's our hope. You see, that's the foundation of everything we believe in, that we're going to be saved and get those new bodies. Let's go to Second Esdras, chapter 16. So Second Esdras, chapter 16. Let's get verse 17. Second Esdras 16, and we'll get verse 17, and it reads as follows. It says here, as soon as I get it, this is more insight on the times we're about to come into. This is the prophet Ezra, and he's seen the visions of what we're going to go through in these times, as well as he realizes that he'll be here in these times through a thing called reincarnation. That's why he says this. Ezra says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Okay, a time like no other that I just read in Jeremiah 30. So he's saying, woe is me, who's going to help me in these days that we're coming into? So that right there is an example of what? Reincarnation. Because the prophet Ezra knew, okay, that he would be here in this day and time. Now, we don't know who we are in our past life. We can't remember, all right? But the prophet Ezra knows who's going to save me for those times that I seen in the vision that the Lord presented to me. You see? Thousands of years ago. Okay, it's going to be what? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. They're going to increase more and more and more. What shall I do when these evils shall come? The elect are going to call on Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, and put our trust and faith in the Lord. It's going to be a time of what? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So many of our people don't understand the time we're in. They're known as the 2/3. They can't pick up on what's happening. They can't pick up that the economy is about to go bust. Okay, they can't pick up what's going on in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, that's going to increase around the country. Okay, the ICE agents are going to go around the country. They can't pick up that more concentration camps or detention centers, okay, and or detention centers are being built. More and more people are being put in those detention centers. And the people they're going after, who are known as Hebrew Israelites, whether you recognize that or not, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in Babylon, America. Let's read this. But for all these things that are going on, okay, they shall not turn, our people 2/3, from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, not mindful of the things going on around the world, not mindful of the other countries that are mad at Babylon, America, not mindful of what's going on in Iran, in which they said, look, Bring it, Trump. Okay, we're ready. If you come against us, be ready for the payback, so to speak. Okay, let's read this right here. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon the earth. Okay, when they say peace and safety, many of our people are like, you know what? The C-19 period, the COVID period is over with. Okay, everything's good. The government shutdown that we had over 40 days ago, that's no longer happening. So they're saying, "Woo, we dodged a bullet." You see, so they're thinking that everything is good. Okay, let's read it again. Behold, victuals, which is provisions, shall be so good, cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion, which is happening right now. These are all growing upon the earth, whether you recognize it or not. But those of us who are part of the hope for elect, we've been given the eye salve and the unction to know all things. So we recognize exactly what's going on. Let's read this, verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Because this devil Esau is getting ready to just get amped up, because he's realizing that Donald J. Trump is not for them. He's realizing that the American government is not in their favor. They were used as pawns. You see, they were used as pawns for the final strategy of the elite Edomite bankers bringing in the MOTB. It's also going to be this time coming up, okay? Verse 23. In the dead, okay, during the time when Jacob's trouble ramps up, in the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. We're headed into what? Movies like The Road, The Book of Eli, Mad Max, okay? All these things are getting ready to come upon the earth. The Walking Dead, total chaos. Let's go to you know what? Let's continue reading. All right. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Because many deaths are coming. Many people are going to be dying of pestilence, disease, people getting killed, maimed, so on and so forth. The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. And this is what the elite Edomite bankers want. Total chaos. Millions of people dying. Okay? So that they will be willing to take that MOTB just to stop all the death, the pestilence, the famine of food, so on and so forth. Verse 28 says, for of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. All right? So you may have a city of 100,000 people, and there may only be like, 1,000 people left. You see? When Jacob's trouble really ramps up. Let's read this. Verse 29. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree, there are left 3 or 4 olives, the scarcity of people. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. Esau going rampant. When Jacob's trouble, kicks in full gear. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, in her ways, in all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. A lot of men are going to die. Also, die going to war, World War III. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. They're going to do a draft. Okay, all you what's the Pookie and Ray Rays and Man Mans and them. Okay, you're going to be, many of you are going to get sent off to concentration camps detention centers, and they're going to give you a choice. Okay, if you want to get out of this concentration camp or detention center, go to war, World War III, and you're going to die. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. All right. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold the word of the Lord. Receive it. So the elect are going to receive this word. They're going to believe the report of the prophets, the elders, the teachers, and they're going to, come in. Okay. They're going to come in through faith, known as the elect, the remnant. Behold the word of the Lord. Receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. So once everything kicks in, one thing after another in Jacob's trouble is going to increasingly intensify. Like this is an example. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not for a moment. So that's speaking of what? When a woman is getting ready to have a baby, the contractions increase. Okay, they go from 1 hour to half an hour to 15 minutes, okay, to 10 minutes to 5 minutes, and then the birth happens. Okay, so when this is an analogy to speak of when Jacob's trouble really intensifies little by little. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. You see? Let's read this. Even so, shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth? And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So right now, we are at the beginning of sorrows that Yahushua describes in Matthew chapter 24. So let's go to one more scripture, because the ultimate plan is what? To bring in the chip, the MOTB. So let's get that scripture and end it here. Revelation 13 in verse 16. Revelation 13 in verse 16. Let's read that. And it reads as follows. Revelation 13 verse 16. It says here, and he causeth, who is the he? The he is the elite Edomite bankers, the international Illuminati families that run the world, that are going to bring the chaos known as, within Jacob's trouble, to legitimize people accepting the MOTB. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, an actual mark, the RFID chip. Okay, it's not the cell phone. Is the mark? It's not white girls. Okay, it's not Caesar Borgia. Okay, that false picture of the Messiah. It's not that. It's an actual mark they want to put inside you, in their right hand or in their foreheads. Let's read it again. Revelation 13, verse 16. And he causeth the elite Edomite bankers, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. You see, they're not trying to give you a choice. But those of us who are part of the hope for elect, we're going to stand stiffly for the name of the Lord. We love not our lives to the death, so we're not going to take that mark, even unto death, even unto us being crucified and killed, so to speak. All right? We're not going to take that mark, Lord willing. I'm part of the elect. In that no man, okay, might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, the actual chip, or the name of the beast, the NWO, okay, the Illuminati, you see, the EU, European Union, and NATO, in Babylon, America, or the number of his name, the 666 mark, the mathematical algorithm, okay, that's within the barcode. When you go to the store, okay, that barcode was invented, the universal product code, I believe it's called, all right, that was invented in 1975 as one of the beginning stages that's going to lead to what? That led to the mark of the beast, the chip. When you go to the store and buy a product, okay, that product is owned by what? The company. So when you go to the store and you go across and you buy something and they put that, now you're doing it by yourself. You go to Walmart, you're doing it on your own. You take that item and you put it across that scanner, okay, the barcode on the product, now you own the product. So basically, this devil wants to implant a chip inside you to have full ownership of you. You're going to be a total slave. We're slaves now, but you're going to be a total slave, okay? And you're going to be whatever they want to do, they can do. Turn your chip off, okay? You ate too much meat this week. You traveled too much, so on and so forth. You did something against the government that they didn't like. You see what I'm saying? And they can turn your chip off. So they're going to have total control. You're going to be an ultimate slave. That's what they want. But we know and understand that ultimately his plan ain't going to work. He's going to enjoy it for a certain amount of time, and then Yahweh Shai is going to come cracking those clouds, okay, on the day of the Lord. So you're not going to be able to buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, NWO, New World Order, or the number of his name, that's 666, okay, algorithm, the program within the chip, all your information on the chip. Okay, let's read verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Let's get that interlinear in the BLB to go a little deeper in that 666 and what it really means. All right. So it says here, let's get it real quick. This is the Greek translation of the 666.
Strong's G 5516. Chai, Xi, stigma. Chai, Xi, stigma.
So chai, high, stigma, okay? Which is a Greek alphanumeric number. But let's go a little deeper, okay? We can go a little deeper in this right here. It says here, let's go a little deeper. All right. So stigma, that last number is known as stigma. It says here from a primary stizo in the root word etymology, from a primary stizo to stick, prick. So they want to prick and put this mark of the beast inside you. It says here, a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. You see? Now we know in the ancient days you had a slave master, okay, in the ancient times, where they put an awl on your ear or marked you in some type of way. All right. As well as, you know, people mark the cattle, the cattle herders, they mark the cattle, the cows, by branding them. Okay, to ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belonged to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. So this devil, these elite Edomite bankers, they want to be God by stamping you and getting you chipped up and having total ownership over you, all right? So we know a few things had to happen. We know they had to bring in full-blown chaos to legitimize people accepting this mark of the beast. But the elect of the Lord, okay, we are not fooled by Satan's devices, and we know exactly what's coming. So we're going to prepare with what? By worshiping our Lord Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, putting our faith and trust in Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, to look after us. So on that note, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I hope this lesson was edifying to you. Shalom.